Hi, everyone. My name is Jaime Zap, and welcome to the Weekly Roundup. I should start by saying that it's not exactly the Weekly Roundup when you don't do it every week. And I know it's been a few weeks since I last did it, but that is the startup life. And being non-committal is really committed in this realm and ecosystem. So every 3 weeks is actually more like a Weekly Roundup to me. Anyways, with that all said, yes, the last update I did was, and I have some notes here on November 18th. So it has been a few weeks. I'm going to be a little bit more disciplined about trying to do this because I actually came across a really interesting article on LinkedIn this week, and it was by a failed founder. I'm not calling her a failed founder. That's, I think, what she labeled the article. But it was essentially some of her lessons learned and things she wishes she had done when she was doing her startup. And number 3 on her list was documenting the journey. And she said, she was so fearful of failure in terms of what if it doesn't work, that number 1, she didn't say the karma, right? Because maybe if you're not fully convinced in your head, that could have adverse effects. Actually, I'm convinced it does. That wasn't her point. Her point was that she really wishes she had documented the journey either way, like through her Twitter or X, LinkedIn, her socials. There's a lot to be learned and a lot to be shared if you're transparent. I think that we're all naturally inclined to share the good things, right? Like the positive outcomes and successes, especially in something like this, when you're kind of putting everything on the line to achieve a dream or to create something bigger than yourself. And there will be wins, right? But there's a lot of lows. There are just as many lows, if not more. And I think I've spoken about this previously, but being a founder is a lonely journey. Any founder will tell you that. And the highs are highs and the lows are lows, right? And sometimes there's no method to the madness, I find either. Like I was explaining to someone the other day, sometimes something really good will happen, something huge that's like very positive, and on that particular day, you're like, sweet. Like, and it doesn't feel as big, and you realize like the magnitude isn't registering. And then on other days, something like really small feels like the hugest win. And then some days, even if something great happens, like you just feel low because 10 other things happened that have you questioning yourself, right? And it's just about kind of persevering and pushing through those, I guess, negative or those bad moments, sleeping on it, because honestly, the next day you're kind of like ready to go back at it. And that's the way it should be. So all that to say, I want to document this, and I've already not done as much of it as I would have liked to. So here we are. And if you are watching this, hold me accountable. If I don't post something on a weekly basis for the weekly roundup, message me and be like, WTF, you aren't holding up to your end of the deal. Consistency, right? Give me a spank, not literally, just digitally. Anyway, that was strange. But this week, in the last couple of weeks, I'll kind of go through, I got some notes here. V2, yes, version 2 of Kindr, my startup. We are still going through QA, QC, mostly really good. It's a lot of work. I'd like to say that it's just some simple stuff, and it's mostly simple. There's nothing huge like on the architecture side, but I am adding in like a couple new features. Well, now I used to do this thing before I had my own company. When I worked at other tech companies as a product manager, you go into the dev team, you're going over your scrum session, or you're going over and looking at the backlog. In any situation, you do this thing where you act like a little bit naive, like I'm a little bit stupid and I don't think this is a full new feature, right? You're like, no, I don't think it's a full change to the scope. I think it's just a slight extension of an existing feature that was already part of the Scrum cycle, right? Knowing full well it's like a new feature. It's not an addition or a slight change of scope. And then when they ask you, okay, then what's out of scope? And you're like, no, surprise, there is nothing out of scope. Everything is still in scope, but you're also adding in this and this. And then you just kind of smile and you slowly step back and see the reaction. Well, yes, that's obviously happened a bit. But to be honest, not that much. We've provided these product requirements to our developers quite a while ago already. I want to say like maybe June or July. And now we're in December. So really, all things considered, with a lot of feedback from the market and clients and beta testers, there isn't like a huge change of scope to V2 of our platform. So I'm pretty proud of that, just some stuff. But on top of that, something else that we're looking into now the UI UX, so the front end of the platform, for those of you who aren't technically inclined, when someone says like the UI, it means user interface. And so that is what you actually interface or interact with as a consumer of a product. So if you're on Instagram, for example, you're looking at the user interface, that's what you're actually interacting with. And that's what's connecting to the back end, which is the code. Well, it looks pretty good, I think, for like V2 of our product. It looks pretty good, but we want it to be great. And it's really important for a product like Kindr, which is not just B2B, it's also B2B2C. So to businesses and to consumers. So B2B, business to business, or a business to business. And then B2C is business to consumer. And since we're like a network, some may call it a marketplace. On the consumer end, you really want it to be engaging and you really want it to be minimal friction points. You want it to be seamless. You want to give them no reasons to drop off on like the registration process or to not use the platform. You want to give them reasons to be a repeat user or to have as many active user sessions as possible. And so in doing that, the skill sets that you need as a UI, UX, user experience professional isn't the same as someone who is like necessarily a really good software engineer, software developer. Sometimes you might get like a unicorn who's both. I haven't seen that before. I have had some really adept developers or engineers that have had some pretty good, UI UX design skills. But there's usually a trade-off, and that's what we're finding here. And so we did have an interview with one lady this week. She was fantastic. So we'll see if we'll be moving forward with her. But really, we want someone to be kind of starting ASAP. We don't want to push back, pushing the app to production in any sort of way. So yeah, that's on that. Aesthetics and user experience are incredibly important. And so yeah, besides that, we did apply for Techstars. Yes. Techstars is an accelerator program, and I think it's probably within the top 3 most popular in the world. So it's a very popular accelerator, and we applied kind of last minute, not because I wasn't aware of it. I've been scoping it for months and months and months and attended a couple other information sessions, but it was sitting there on my calendar and it kept being like, okay, I have to talk to Sid, my co-founder, about do I apply? Do I not apply? By I mean we. Should we apply, right? There's no I in team. There's a me, but there's no I, but there's a we. No, there isn't, but still team. So he agreed. We're not going to be applying for every accelerator or incubator by any means. We're at the point now where, your time is really fragmented and time and money is precious. So you have to really be strategic about which programs you're applying to. Techstars is definitely one of them. And so he was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm down for applying. And that was on the last day. And so we got our application in, really hoping, fingers crossed that, we make it into the program. Just finishing up migrating our data room for them to peruse, and I will let you know if we get in. But yeah, that would be an amazing experience. I can't even imagine, but that would be crazy. I will talk more about it if we do in fact get into Techstars. Yeah, besides that, like we're in December already. I forgot to say happy belated Thanksgiving to all of you who celebrate it. Sid is definitely in the US and he's celebrating this weekend, actually. He has got some family and friends that are coming in for it. So I'm trying not to bug him too much. I hope everyone spent some great time with their loved ones. As a Canadian, we celebrate earlier than you, but I know it's a really nice holiday for y'all in the US, and a time to kind of unwind and turn off the laptop and be present with the things that matter. And it's kind of segueing into now like our holiday season as well, like into Christmas holidays. Things haven't slowed down on this end, but I feel a little bit more inner peace because the investor community, they've pretty much like stopped their investment for the rest of the year at this point. A lot of people in the corporate world, them too, they're not looking to make huge decisions for the rest of the month. They're going to be going on holidays. And so I feel like I have some time to catch up, even though not quite there. Like I think I see it on the horizon, which is probably like a false sense of security because I will be giving my girls some vacation time, which means I won't really have that much time, more than I usually do. But yeah, we've got like the house decorated. It's beautiful. And Elf on the Shelf has made it out to visit the girls and they're very happy about that. We're getting ready for the new year. So, yeah, really strategic planning for 2025, budgetary planning, all of our inputs, and really what KPIs or key performance indicators will be demonstrative of our success and our objectives. So that's kind of what we're looking at for the rest of the year on top of launching the app. And then a couple of fun things that hopefully I have time to do. So Dragon's Den has opened up their pitch sessions. I want to apply. I've always wanted to apply to Dragon's Den. I don't know if we have enough traction to Dragon's Den. They might just very well be like, that's your valuation and that is your sales. Like, get out of here, blah, blah, blah. That's okay. Like, I will take it full on. I wish Kevin O'Leary was still there, though, because I'd love to have him yell at me about evaluation. That would be a dream of mine. I really would. Maybe he can make like a one-time stop back at the Canadian version. Like Dragon's Den is the original initial Shark Tank. Like we are the OG. Shark Tank copied Dragon's Den and they snagged, Kevin O'Leary, who's Canadian. He should be coming back. I assume they pay him more there and there's probably a bigger market in terms of viewers, but have a little loyalty, Kevin, and scrape some time together to come back on Dragon's Den. Pay some to the homies back here in Canada. I want to apply. I'm going to do it. I don't care. Sid said he gave me the go ahead. I'm going to get him a Canadian tuxedo all in denim if we end up pitching. It will be amazing. I really hope we get through. Anyways, so there's that. And besides that, I think I don't know if I have that much more to go over. Yes, I do. One more thing. I had a follow-up session today with a huge potential corporate client. We've got a few that are at the bottom of the funnel. This one is really, really big. I can't say their name. Not only do I not want to jinx it, but plus I don't think I'm allowed to. So they're just a huge global firm in electronics and manufacturing. And if we got the honor of working with them through their expansion plans, it's literally what a startup dreams of, to have a huge company like that believe in you and be one of your beta testers and early users, early clients. It can really be something that propels you like with great velocity into the abyss of you've made it, or like you might make it, your probability has gone up. So it went really well. And by that, I mean, if I base on words, it looks like we will get a chance at this and it's ours to lose. We have a demo with them in 2 weeks. And so we'll really just make sure that we've got V2 basically in fighting form for that. So it's really something to work towards and just have our guys doing everything they can to have it in perfect shape for that demo. So wish me luck. Happy Friday. If there's anything you guys want to ask in terms of questions, I'd love to answer it. I do want to have people actually joining me on this every now and then because I prefer having conversations than talking to the light camera in my front of my face. But thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, ask your questions. I love interacting with the community. Stay safe, warm, and happy holidays. Where did I press stop? All right.